Thank you for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
And I'm small business entrepreneur Breezy Gipson.
And we're glad that you've joined us today. We've got another great show lined up for you, just chock full of music industry news. And of course, we got to give a shout out to our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm excited about this one. How about you?
Oh yeah. Very much excited. Actually got to spend some time with D.I.J. Sparks last week and the week before as well. So yeah. He's got a lot of big things going on that he's stirring up. So big shout outs to both of the stations and networks.
Yes, for sure. All right, so without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring this show to you right now.
Okay. listening to A Chick with Beats and Breezy Gipson on the Music Marvels Radio Show. You're listening to Achickwitbeatz Breezy Gipson, Music Marbles Radio. Hey fam, this is Breezy Gipson from the Breeze team.
How would you like to see an online platform that brings you people who've already indicated that they're interested in your particular type of business? Whether it's your music you're selling, hip-hop clothing, you got a restaurant or a cafe, or if you're an entrepreneur or agent for a business. Visit me at breeze2cheese.com. That's using the number 2, breeze2cheese.com, or click my bio link on my Instagram profile to see a live demo of how this can help you get more customers and make more money.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen. All right, we're back with music industry news. First off, the UK-born mobile ticketing platform Dice has raised $65 million in new funding that was led by the company called Music, which is an investment company that was founded by Matt Pincus and Liontree. We actually talked about this, I want to say, about a few months ago. But now that they're shelling out some dough for them to grow and expand, Music CEO says that he's also going to join the Dice board of directors, and the company plans to use the money that they received to expand across the US and globally to support its ongoing product investments. And according to Dice, over 55,000 artists and more than 10,000 venues, festivals, and promoters will use Dice to sell their tickets across 30 cities this year.
Hey, I mean, every door that opens can lead to some big things. So yeah, my hat's off to them in this regard with that the endeavor they got going on.
Yeah. And, you know, we can definitely use some new ticketing systems, especially with all the stuff that Live Nation's got going on that we'll know more about as we get into the final quarter of the year.
Well, yes, we will.
Okay, so 50% of music industry workers report loss of work in the EU after Brexit. So a survey that was conducted by the Independent Society of Musicians revealed that 40% of musicians and music industry workers have said that they've lost work due to Brexit, with an additional 39% forced to turn work down in the EU because of visa fees, touring allowances, work permits, and the cost of travel as major contributors to the loss of work. So I know initially when it happened, you know, we were talking about some of the different ways that people thought that they might be affected, and now it appears that that's actually come into fruition. So, you know, hopefully some things can turn around for our friends across the pond there, and you know, things will get better, maybe, hopefully.
The economy has a lot to do with that, and I hope it does get better in that regard.
Yeah.
A lot of different folks suffering in many different ways. So
Yeah.
let's hope it regenerates itself.
Yes, absolutely. All right, and this one I actually thought was more of an FYI. You probably heard at least the headlines about R. Kelly and Universal Music having to pay over $500,000 in music royalties to victims. But one thing I thought was kind of important to point out about this is that essentially what they're doing is garnishing his wages. So basically just going directly to the source instead of Universal Music paying him. They're like, nope, just hand that money right on over to the victims. So initially at his 2022 sentencing, Universal and Sony have both received the $500,000 bill that was owed to his sexual abuse victims, as both Sony and Universal were believed to be in what they called possession of property that belonged to R. Kelly, amounting to $504,289 bill that he currently owes in restitution and criminal fines. So the latest ruling says that Sony doesn't have to offer the payments because Universal is actually holding enough to cover all the royalties. So instead of it going from Universal to him to the victims, it's just going straight to the source. And so we typically don't hear about wages or royalties getting garnished directly from the record company. But yeah, just a heads up to any musicians out there, it can happen.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
the whole thing is quite a fiasco for some folks. Now it's a celebration for some other folks. So, you gotta include both sides in the case. So we just have to sit back and watch. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of damage was done to. Well, the court found that a lot of damage was done to some very specific individuals. So we have to just sit back and watch to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Like the main takeaway, regardless of how you feel about R. Kelly, if you're working with a label, your stuff can get garnished. You're not above that just because you don't have a desk job or a blue collar job or whatever the case may be. All right. NetEase, cloud music's paid monthly users grew 11% to 41.8 million at the end of June. So this is China's second largest music streaming provider, right after Tencent. But they also said that they've had an increase of monthly average revenue per paying user. And I'm just going to switch this to US dollars, but it basically grew from 90 or to 93 cents from 89 cents per user in the first half of the year. And that was attributed to what they're calling pricing optimization initiatives. So basically, they're saying they've set the dollar amount just right. People have been willing to pay for it, and they're seeing growth because of it.
Well, there's a lot going on, that we've got our hands on with these stories, and this is no different. People position themselves to take advantage of the subscription craze, and by the looks of this, no doubt it's not even slowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just last week we shared that Tencent was also growing a lot during the first half of the year. So one thing to take away from this is that China's becoming increasingly, I guess, valuable to the streaming music sector because it's just consistent growth all across the board here. Warner Music Canada and Warner Music India have launched a new joint venture called 91 North that's intended to support music artists of South Asian heritage. So Joy Mehta, who's the managing director of Warner Music India, says that the initiative basically leverages the market potential of uniting two distinct fan bases to give artists global support from A&R, marketing, collaborations, and more. So the fact that these two are teaming up, Canada and India in the Warner music sectors to be able to do this is very interesting. I'm kind of excited to watch and see how that plays out and see how much growth that these artists see from this collaboration. Because if this works out well, then, hey, it's a lot of other regions that might need to link up to kind of boost each other's fan bases a little bit.
Yeah, they just have to follow the trail that's being exhibited by Warner Music Canada and Warner Music India.
Yeah.
See if they can duplicate that or unite with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Major music labels return to court over Grand Communications' $46.8 million in damages bill. So a court has ruled that the internet service provider could be held liable for not doing enough to combat copyright infringement and infringers of its networks, and they ordered the company to pay that amount. But while Grand Communications is, which they've recently rebranded, I believe last year, to Astound Broadband, while they're appealing the decision, music labels are saying, hey, why don't we make sure that they post a bond to make sure that this amount is available just in case, you don't approve the appeal, which makes sense because they're just trying to make sure that the money's still there. Because it wouldn't be helpful if while they're fighting this, they end up spending it and then, the major music labels can't get their money. So, yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. Yeah, I honestly don't know which way it's going to go. It's really hard to tell with these things, but as we know more, we'll let you know.
Absolutely, positively.
All right, ESPN has announced the Monday Night Football music collaboration with Timbaland and Justin Timberlake. And the duo is going to work with ESPN to curate music for select Monday Night Football games for the 2023 through 24 NFL season, with promotional spots, live telecasts, pregame shows, and of course, they're going to have support from Beat Club members, which is the platform that was founded by Timbaland. And Timberlake actually has an equity stake in it too. So it makes sense. It's a big opportunity for them and those artists that they're working with via Beat Club.
Yeah, well, great opportunity. And let's see if they can step up to the plate and create something very worthwhile with this opportunity.
Yeah.
As we always have said, behind the scenes, you got to work on your craft no matter what else you're concentrating on, because when that call comes, you still, hey, your creativity's got to be on point. So I'm glad they got the opportunity. And again, for you who are just getting started or who you're middle way in the road, still never let go of your chops.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen any given time, and hey, you on Front Street. So when you're on Front Street, you got to display what you can do, and like in this case, it's leading them to a really good paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so my biggest hope from what comes from this is that, as we're hearing the music that's playing, or when they're doing their commercials advertising it, that I won't be annoyed. That's my biggest. So I'm like, okay, they've got some genuine artists. Hopefully it won't be anything that's too watered down, or that you'll be annoyed might get stuck in your head. So I'm hoping for some good music coming from this. I'm hoping to be introduced to some artists I've never heard of through their Beat Club platform. And yeah, it's some good. There's potential, a lot of potential for good things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Netflix is partnered with Hybe and Geffen Records for an upcoming docuseries. The debut Dream Academy is going to chronicle the making of a new global girl group under the K-pop methodology. So the audition series is going to follow 20 women that were selected out of 120,000 applicants, vying for a spot in the new global girl group under those two labels. So we actually talked about when they initially said they were going to begin the search, and before they got all those applicants in, I thought it would be a big deal, but I never imagined that they were going to have 120,000 applicants. So it's kind of fun to come back and report on how many people actually took advantage of that. And so the audition content is going to be available on YouTube and also the Japanese streaming service ABEMA from September 1st through the finale on November 17th. So it's just going to occur weekly pretty much. And a panel of industry experts will judge the contestants, and fans will also be able to vote for their favorites on Weverse and TikTok. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Once the finale happens, November 17th, they're also going to announce the name of the girl group. And every single article I read about this kept wording it that way, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I'm led to believe they already know what it is, but they're just waiting to tell us. And so, yeah, once again, as more information pours in, we'll let you know.
Well, Geffen's been around. Geffen Records has been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember as a teenager. And they've also had a flow of staying connected with very up and coming groove type entertainers, where some of the other labels would not. Well, these types of entertainers wouldn't fit the quote need of some of these other labels, but Geffen, I can give them a thumbs up, because 15, 20 years ago, yeah, they were in the mix then. So now, for them to be involved with this program, it just shows how they have withstood the test of time, which a lot of record companies have not been able to do. So Yeah. So thumbs up to Geffen, and that's an interesting series coming up.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned that, to think of them being the label that partners with Hybe, uh, because Hybe is behind BTS and some of the other major K-pop stars. Um, to have somebody that's been basically just killing it recently in the music industry to team up with someone that's been killing it for years in the industry, that's a super powerful dynamic. And I didn't really think about it that way until you said that.
Understood.
Yeah. Yep. All right. There's a new music royalty platform launching September 12th that's aiming to become a transformative force in music and investing, as they put it. And you'll actually
keyword investing.
Yeah. So when you see it, the company is actually, how should I say this? The letters are JKBX, but it's pronounced jukebox. So, Jukebox basically said that they're going to enable investors to reserve shares in royalty streams from hundreds of songs from famous artists like Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Adele, Jonas Brothers, and many, many more. But currently, it's aiming to gain SEC approval for selling music royalty streams to investors as a Regulation A offering. So that's why they're saying you can reserve it rather than buy it for now until they get the approval. And then you'll be able to own those shares. So it's definitely something that we're seeing a lot more of companies offering this to us everyday people, to where we can have a portion of some of those royalties that those big stars are getting. And I'm kind of excited to see how this will play out.
Sounds good. And I want to give a shout out to our buddy, our radio guest, our friend, our advisor, the one and only Al Burrows. And he currently has been linked up for quite a few years as a music engineer, one of the head music engineers with Morris Day and the Time. So I just want to give a shout out to him. He got a lifelong dream brought to reality over the weekend by when Morris Day and the Time performed at the one and only legendary California Bowl out there in Los Angeles. And I sent him a note letting him know that, hey, the closest I've been to the place was seeing it from the highway as I was passing by. But he was actually in there, and he was really excited at the opportunity to actually be able to set up the equipment and so on and so forth out there and regulate it. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal to be in the legendary Hollywood Bowl. And so yeah, I'm really excited about him. First gig out there, and he met a lot of legendaries out there. And plus, he said Morris Day and the Time put on a great show too. So
awesome. Well, congratulations to him. He's such a hard worker, and he does such a great job engineering those shows. Man, I still can't get over how well when I actually got to see them working those boards at the concert that they did in Detroit. Was it last year, I believe? But yeah, congratulations to him. That's an awesome opportunity, and I can't think of a single person more deserving.
Yeah, Jeff Lorber and a lot of great jazz artists were out there that have been around, and excuse me forgive me if I leave some names out, but some of the artists, but they had a really big time. And I was in Los Angeles driving down the freeway, and I happened to glance over to the right, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that it? Yeah, that was it. You can see the Hollywood Bowl amphitheater and from afar, and I was like, wow. But yep, he not only saw it, he worked in it, and so that's a big thing.
You should be thankful you were on the freeway to be able to go past it, because when you're actually in the city trying to get past it, that traffic is woo. But yeah. All right. And our final story for the week, Universal Music Group has acquired a UAE based music marketing and distribution company called Shabaka Music. They specialize in digital distribution, marketing, publishing, and artist services all across the Middle East and North Africa. That's commonly being referred to as the MENA region. And it's one of the world's fastest growing music sectors. So, just to give you a glimpse of that, in 2022, the region registered a 23.8% year over year growth in recorded music revenues. So, it's a lot going on there. So, obviously, Universal Music Group is trying to make sure that they're a part of it. And yeah, so we'll kind of have to watch and see what happens. There are a lot of labels that are taking up residency there. And so that's letting like you say, follow the trail. It's some big stuff going on there. So it might behoove you to keep an eye on what's happening in that region musically.
Yeah, and again, just like I mentioned in the news story before, the last was that as a musician, as a worker, as somebody who's talented, no matter what your background is, dealing with music, stay on at the top of your chops. Keep your chops ready, because all of these deals that we just talked about on the, through these news stories, there was some emails sent and some phone calls made, because and just based off of somebody's reputation. And so you got to stay ready. So when that phone call comes or when that email comes, hey, sometimes all you have time to do is pack a suitcase, grab your ticket and be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. No time to practice then, is there?
Right. So yeah, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Is that what they say?
Yeah, that's what they say.
All right. And so that does it for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. Once again, we thank you for joining us, tuning in. We thank our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm already ready to get back and do this again next week. How about you?
Yes, I am. Shouts out to all of the guests that we've had, as they are out there in the world making things happen, attending conferences, performing on stage, helping others with their endeavors. And so, yeah, we don't overlook that, because when the guests come and they share their story with you, the listeners, that's big stuff to these guests, and when they receive our invitation to come and join us so that they can speak to you, the listener, they don't take that as a joke. They take that very seriously. Mm-hmm. So, and we appreciate you, the listeners, for taking the time to listen to them and absorb what it is that they're sharing, because that's their life's work. Okay, mm-hmm. So it's all good. It's all good.
For sure. All right, and then just a reminder, if you enjoyed anything that you've heard played during this broadcast, make sure you check me out at achickwitbeatz.com, and where they need to hook up with you when they want to try to get some other stuff popping.
Oh yeah. Breeze to cheese.now.site, and that's the number 2. And we've got some things going that can help people to grow their music business in many, many different diversified ways. So, yeah.
All right.
Achickwitbeatz.com and breeze2cheese.now.site. Hey, we got you.
Definitely. All right. So, till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.